Hello and welcome to a very special segment of the Store TV from a very busy and hectic Mumbai, India. Well, you started in retail in 1996, and given the way in which the Indian market has grown and developed, you've seen a tremendous amount of change since that time. How would you characterise the difference of Indian retailing when you first entered the industry and the position we are in today?
Right. I mean, 1996 and 2010, the retail has gone a tremendous change. But yes, the change which is very noticeable as of now is the acceptance of retail in India. When we started, the vendors were not ready to accept you as a retailer. The vendors had their own sales channel. They had their own distribution channel of distributors and suppliers. So they didn't want an external agency to come in. So they didn't want to disturb their own channel. So what they did was they used to bill you at the same rates which the other dealers used to get, and with your kind of operational expenses which an organized retail chain has. So there was an uncompetitive pricing of an organized guy than a mom and pop kind of a store. So the survival was very tough. Many of them almost closed the operations. So this was the major thing that I've seen, that the acceptance of retail by the vendors has gone up. They see this as a sunrise industry, as a way to come more close to their customer, to know what they are, to understand, to know the customer preferences, etc. Point number two is the customers have also accepted that retail store is a place where they can go, they can have a good time, it gives them a good ambience. Above all, it gives them a good price, which was not existing at that time. I accept that at that time, a retail store of an organized chain was expensive. The products they were selling were slightly priced more than what you used to get at the other stores, because the operational expenses were high. And the mechanism was not in place. Supply chain was not even existing. So you have people virtually coming down to your stores and delivering goods, and quite primitive of that, if I can say. And today when we moved, so this happened from 1996 to 2000. 2000 to 2005, it improved a bit. The actual boom, if I say, started post 2005. The peak was 2007, when every Indian company worth its salt started getting into retail.
And why was that? Why did they suddenly discover retail?
Now this is where I'll come, because this is the internet world. This is the media is across. A lot of research has been on Indian market by everybody around the world. A lot of publications have been coming in. The research is being done. So the latest research in November 2009, when the recession was there, was that India is a $450 billion market, will achieve 30% growth, go up to 720 billion by 2011. In those tough times also, you see these researches, which is very interesting. Based on that, the entrepreneurs suddenly thought that, hey, these are billions of dollars. Let's make use of this money. So that is where they came up with fancy concept. They actually did not know much about the business, but they entered into it just with this hope that these billions will fall. A part of that will fall in the kitty.
So we've reached a bit of an inflection point in Indian retailing, haven't we?
Yes, of course.
At this stage, where the dash for growth or dash for rollout of sites at any capital cost has come to an end, and there's a concentration now on getting to understand what it is that makes a retail concept work, because it's not just about getting customers in the store. It's not just about the difference between, you know, what you buy something for and what you sell something for, is it?
Yes, of course. I mean, in a way, this global economic crisis has been, I would say, very good for our retail industry in India. Otherwise, we could have created a bigger mess. With this, with the capital getting tight, and with the realization that fewer customers are now coming to your stores, so with the lesser sales, how do you sustain? So the option one is you close, the option two is you hold your fort. To hold your fort, I mean, you need to squeeze the best out of what all operations you have. So key performance indicators were sort of not existent. So while setting up a store, the sales per square feet, benchmarking, the occupancy ratios were not really taken care of. The focus was, I want to have a outlet either in a mall or a high street. So you have a survey format, you do it, you close that, you acquire that, and you roll out the operations. So that was not the right way. When you the rollout process has to be with guarded aggression. You need to be aggressive. You have to increase the number of stores, but you have to keep a solid tab on the ratios. I mean, that your occupancy cost is not going up. Sales per square feet, you have to benchmark. You just cannot be many times than the industry benchmark. It's fine. I mean, you are doing well, so you are a delta above than the others, but you cannot be phenomenally above than the others. So these key parameters are very important now. Now the retailers are sitting, looking back, and seeing that, wow, I mean, this is what we have created. Now what best we can do with this.
And one final thought. In many markets, it's been slightly more open for more Western style companies to come in and to operate. India has had a schizophrenic, I think, view as to whether foreign investment for retailers is a good or a bad thing. And that has precluded certain retailers from coming on. I think IKEA is a good example of a retailer that said that it won't enter the marketplace until that's sorted out. Do you see any changes on the horizon in terms of the legislation regarding foreign ownership?
The change will definitely happen. This is, I mean, being an Indian, I've seen these phenomena at every stage, for every industry, for every new thing that happens. Some 20-30 years ago, the computerization, when it started happening within the country, there was a whole lot of hue and cry that this will eliminate a lot of jobs and this should not happen. But then it happened. I mean, fine. I mean, it gets delayed, it gets late. There's a lot of deliberation that go into it. There's a lot of convincing that goes into it, but it happens. Similarly, in this industry, the same thing is happening. The life cycle is same. That is what I see. Here, the vested interest. As you can, I mean, if the studies that you see, India is a country of a whole lot of shoppers. Mom and pop stores are many millions of stores. So they are afraid that when these big retailers will come, they'll be out of business. But the convincing that is going in, the research that is going in, that they operate in different space. So that should happen. So the government is sort of keen. I mean, we saw one research being conducted by the government of India, which said that these are two different spaces. They will not overlap. But then that was shot down. Many people who sit in the parliament have their own interest. So the lobbying is pretty strong. But yes, I know that in times to come, and that time is not very far, a few years down the line, that will come. Plus, the cash and carry format that is open has also not seen much of a success. So the government is also sort of wary. They are also waiting and watching that, will it be open? I mean, we open the gates, and if the economy cannot sustain that, if the retailers come and they're not able to get business out of this country, then the complete thing will go kaput. I mean, you have your mom and pop stores, you have these international retailers, and they don't find business in this country, which is sort of cash and carry model has not been a huge success here. So that is also a reason where we are skeptical.
But the cash and carry model has been the model that some of the international retailers have had to go down in order to be able to trade here.
Yes. Walmart has come to India with that model. They are tied with Bharti. So that is a very complex situation where Bharti will operate their own stores. The back end will be managed by Walmart. Walmart will manage the cash and carry. So this complex phenomena is happening because of this legislation, this FDI not being allowed. Once this goes, I'm very sure, I don't know, but I'm very sure that they'll part ways and it will operate in its own space and Bharti will operate in its own space. But that is sure to happen. It may be a couple of years down the line or more, but that's certainly happening.
Well, retailing has never ever been for the faint-hearted, has it? You have to have a strong constitution to be a retailer, and I think given the dynamics of the market over the course of the next few years, that's certainly going to be the case in India. Thank you very much for sharing your insight with us, and much appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.